Hello. This is a sort of overview of the two projects that we had as a class, and I decided to do a little bit more than what was asked, and I wanted to just show how there's a lot of freedom and scalability to these projects, which allows you to sort of deepen your understanding of different CS topics or like learn new things, especially when it comes to like C++, as many of you, including me, um, was not familiar with it prior to taking this class. And so when we were assigned this Monopoly board using a circularly linked list, I thought it would be a cool idea to add a GUI to it to like fully display the pieces with their colors, doing all that. Um, and just like wanting to do that led me on a deep rabbit hole of trying to figure out how GUI works in C++, uh, like learning how color uh, color works. So for example, we have um, this is how we're actually able to get that color that we're going to display. This is like a hex or RGB value. And so this allows us to actually display a color on the board. And then after finishing just the simple display of the board, I also wanted to go a little bit further with pieces like actually having a playable game. I was like, I feel like I'm like almost there. Like I could definitely add the stuff to play the game, especially learning the basics behind like a GUI. And so I learned how to use a for loop to display like each piece, and I was like, I could probably apply that to players. And then every turn they roll, and then it would display maybe like dice, which is what I was able to add. Um, so then when I finish that up, I'm not completely done with the whole functionality, and then also some of the GUI is a little bit messed up right now, but it just requires some tweaking. Um, but for now, I still have a relatively functional game where we have three players, and you can roll a dice, and it will. Oh, the first player landed on taxes, and he rolled a four, right? He rolled two twos, and you can see what he rolled, and then you can see what the property is, how much it costs, and then how much money you have. So you can buy it or you can pass on it. So if I bought it, then you can see now he only has $1,300. And then the next player can roll. He goes to chance. Um, and then you can draw this chance card and then take a trip to Reading Railroad. Um, and so he went back, but then he also gained $200 for passing go because he would pass chance all the way around and then back there. And so right now it's working relatively well. Go to jail works. The only thing is like community chests don't work, and there's also an extra piece that I have displayed up here, but that's like a relatively quick fix. But it's like things are getting playable, and I just wanted to show how you can take this simple project and sort of adapt and change things or add things that you want to do. And then also the reason why I wanted to add this was not only like to indulge or be able to look at like the more complicated aspects of C++, but also I'm able to add this project to my resume, um, and also in general deepen my knowledge for computer science. And then as for the second one, this one is an interesting project. As you can see, I have a lot of files over there on the side, and that's because I decided to change this from I still have the original intent because my new thing that I added didn't actually read from a file, but I added um, AI generative story. So rather than the story being based on my like decision tree, um, I decided I wanted to make it based on AI. And so this means that as you play the game, it should still be able to work. But we want to play the AI game. It'll go through, and I had to look up like how I used a library on a GitHub that has OpenAI and C++, and so it allows me to tell the chat completion bot, hey, this is like your role. Um, and so this is sort of the general role of the system. It's like you are a coherent RPG story, uh, or you're creating a coherent RPG story, and then it has these specific things, and then the user tells the bot, given some context or like what decision I chose, and then also to tell it, oh, respond in this manner, where it says story, and then it says it, and then it says the first choice or the second choice, which allows my algorithm to read through it, and then it has this story that I uh, share, and then it says the next choice. So, for example, I can go, oh, I want to approach the grand staircase, and then I'll type one, and then it continues that story, and then the choices are here again. And if I wanted to, I can just end the game. But this it sort of shows this is like a lot, and it required a lot of like research and messing around. But as someone who's interested in AI, being able to mess around with OpenAI API was just generally like a really cool thing to do. And I felt like I was given that freedom with this sort of project where I was able to make this um, like text-based RPG, but then integrate AI in it. And that was just like a cool sort of aspect that I can add to it. But yeah, that's the two projects that we did. I just wanted to kind of show the scalability of these projects. It can seem like a lot, but even just adding like little things, like with my first project, just adding the ability to like display it can be cool, even if it's not doesn't have all the colors, but just adding those little things made me feel more confident in my ability to program in C++ and then also debug, especially as like the program doesn't really tell you what's wrong. It just is like, uh-oh, everything broke. And so that was, I feel like, very helpful to be able to develop these sort of more advanced techniques and learn it on my own. Because I mean, that's kind of what it'll be like in the workforce. Just not really, you don't have to know everything. But yeah, so that was my two projects.